can solve the practice 2 problems on 2.6. So let's look at those together here. I have an image of the problem here. So it says, your local bakery sells more bagels when it reduces prices, but then its profits change. The function y equals negative 1,000 x squared plus 1,100 x minus 2 models the baker's daily profit in dollars from selling bagels, where x is the price, right, and y is the profit, so it's how much money they're making. So on the x-axis we have the price, and we have y-axis we have the money. It says, what is the highest price the bakery can charge in dollars? Highest price the bakery can charge in dollars and make a profit of at least 200. So I went, first you have to really see the function. Now when we first come to Desmos, I typed in the function, right, and I said y equals 200 to see where that's at, and I don't see anything. And this is this little, on the graphing calculator you would change the window. Here on Desmos you need to change the settings. Now I can see that my x is enough to see between negative 10 and 10, so I don't need to change that, but y, I want y to go all the way up here to 200, so maybe we make it something like negative 50 to 300. Oh, almost to the top, so let's go 350, and let's make our step be 25. And now we can see the whole graph, and maybe we don't really need so much x, negative 5 to 5, and that gives us a pretty good view of this function. Now, the question said the most it could sell. So we have these two places where this overlaps here, right? We have when x is 0.234, we hit 200, and when x is 0.866. And remember, these were the x values for the price of the bagel. So the most we can charge to make at least 200 is 0.866. But let's just take this image, and we're gonna see how could I do this algebraically. So we just saw how to do it graphically, and we're gonna see, could I do that same problem and set it up algebraically, and what would it look like? So here's our problem. Here's our little graphical solution. Just to review one more time, remember we had on the y-axis was the profit, on the x-axis was the cost of the bagel, and the question says in dollars, so it's 0.87 cents, right? We answered it. Now, how could I set this problem up algebraically? Well, 200 is my y value, right? I'm taking this y value and I'm putting 200 in there because I want to know, right, when this 200 happens. So 200 equals negative 1,000 x squared plus 1,100 x minus 2.5. Right now, we've been working on all these methods of solving quadratics, but we have to have 0 over here. So if I want 0 for y, if I want y to be 0, I'm going to have to subtract 200 from both sides. So I still have negative 1,000 x squared plus 1,100x, and then let's see here, so 200 minus negative 200, right? I'm subtracting 200, so negative 200 minus 2.5 is negative 2.02.5. Now, we could use, we're not going to factor this, right? And I would always kind of recommend coming here and doing the graphic calculator, but you could use the quadratic formula, right? You could say negative b, if I wanted to solve this, x equals negative b, right, plus or minus the square root, this is hard to type, the square root of b squared, so that's 1,100 squared, 1,100 squared minus 4 times 4ac, 1,000 times negative 202.5 n square root, and all divided by 2a, so negative 2,000, right? It's not typed so nicely, but I could put it in the quadratic formula and I could solve, and you're going to find this is, since it's plus or minus, The minus value is going to give you this one, and the positive one is going to give you. But we can still answer it from the graph pretty simply. All right, so that's the first question on that page. Let's add a slide here. The second question on that page, I might have to go back to it, was a physics problem, and it says the equation, this equation, so negative 80t minus 16 models the height in feet reached in t seconds by an object propelled straight up from the ground at a speed of 80 feet per second. Use the discriminant to tell whether the object will ever reach the height of 90 feet. All right. Well, let's pull that problem in. Now, what is the, we have to, first, we got to kind of think what's going on in this problem. And let's again use Desmos to think, we don't have to graph this to do this, but let's just use 80t minus 16t squared, right? So let's go back into Desmos, clear this one. So h in this case is y because it's the height, 80t, and t is x, right? It doesn't matter what variable we use, minus 16x squared. All right, and we're going to see that it gets up to 100, right? And we wanted to know, does it reach 90? And it does, right? It gets up over it. So what is it saying? This object started here at 0. If we look at this question again, height in feet propelled straight up from the ground. This is the part. It's at the ground and it's going up at 80 feet per second up. That's kind of the force being used to put it up, and it's going to reach a peak and it's going to come down. All right, so what is the discriminant though? How could I answer this without graphing it? Well, the discriminant is the part that's inside the square root. So the square root of, what is it? Square root of b squared, square root of b squared minus 4ac. It's that inner part. Let me even see if I get an image for you real quick, because it'll maybe make it look better. Discriminant. Oh, we get everything else. Discriminant, quadratic formula. Okay, so this part inside here, b squared minus 4ac, is discriminant because it's helping us know something. If I have negative b plus or minus 0 divided by 2a, I only have one solution. That means that the quadratic is touching at the x-axis at one point. I have one solution. If b squared minus 4ac is negative, then that means I have no solution. And in the case of this, if it was negative, it would mean that this line was something, instead of 90, if I ask the question, does it reach 110? Right? The answer is going to be no, and the discriminant would be negative. So we have a negative value, and this would be no. But in this case, at 90, we're going to end up with two values. So b squared minus 4ac is going to be something that's positive, which is going to give me something to add and something to subtract. So I hope that helps you with those two problems. Let me know if you have more questions.